Hello and welcome to another episode of Social Buzz Chat here on everywhere, because we're on all the platforms now. Your weekly dose of social media, creative, community, any other tags you want to throw at it. And today I'm joined by...
Aria. How to learn the name?
No surname?
No surname.
Why?
I'm just like Cher. Go by one name only.
It's caught me out already. Right, I'm going to catch you out. We usually ask people where they're from to start with, but we're going to try something a little bit more punchy.
No, but where are you really from?
I'm really from Italy. Okay, quick question. You have 30 seconds, and this can go to people at home. Put this in the comments. You have 30 seconds to convince Jay-Z you're the right guy to lead the social media for Tidal. What do you say? Timing.
Burn it down. Sell it. Burn it down. Insurance.
What, the social media?
On social media? No.
Yeah,
burn,
collapse
the whole thing. I would like to see Tidal do something more physical. So with your subscription, you can also get vinyl or something better. So, but nothing to do with social media.
Do you hear that, Jay-Z? Use social media to give people vinyl. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start the show.
Actually, no, now that we're out of that 30-second pressure pocket, I would use the data that they have from listeners to sell them shit.
That's better. Do you hear that, Jay-Z? There's a guy that could work for you and turn your fortunes around. Welcome, handshake. Sorry, my hands are covered in hair wax. So, you're sat on the sofa today, but how did you get into social media? Like, where did you start? What degree did you do? Where was your turning point?
I did a degree at the School of African and Oriental Studies, Oriental and African, SOAS, Oriental and African Studies. It was in ethnomusicology, which is basically world music. But I was always really interested in using social media to promote music and to kind of, this was, around the time of Myspace, Napster. I think iTunes had just about come around. And there was a lot of talk about, why should we pay for something on iTunes when we can get it for free on YouTube or Napster. YouTube wasn't necessarily that big in the content for music videos at the time. Yeah. But there was a lot of talk, how do we make people pay for something that they're used to getting for free? And I always thought there's potentially ways through MySpace or through kind of access to artists that we could foster communities and relationships. And could we charge for that? I don't know, but there's definitely a way of adding value, of making people want to pay you as an artist. Whether it's for a track or for merch or for gigs, there's definitely a channel of communication that you can use to show people why you deserve to be paid. Yeah, I guess. But also on the other hand, I love this because there are so many musicians who think they deserve to get paid just because they make music, and that's not how it works. Not all art is created equal. So someone says, "Oh, you should definitely buy my stuff." Why? Yeah. But now we're in a different territory where it's all about streaming.
Yeah. So like you joined it during like the MySpace generation. How did you then turn that into a career?
I wrote a lot of essays about what was happening in the industry at the time, where record companies, the Recording Association in America was suing like grannies for having MP3s on their hard drives, or suing kids.
Remember that time?
Yeah.
That was a weird time.
It was a weird time, and then there were all like iTunes had DRM, Windows Media Player had DRM, M4Us. Discs had these copyright protection on them that installed malware onto your computer. So it was all about trying to ring fence and control content in a digital age, which still goes on. But I was kind of really interested in unpicking that side of things as well, which led me to get an internship at a social media agency that worked pretty exclusively with music at the time. But their idea for socials was very different from what we do now. Okay. This is going back a few years ago, and I think the labels are in part to blame as well. Everybody just wanted numbers.
So labels in part to blame for just the slowness of it evolving?
Well, no, for people taking shortcuts, for people saying like, oh, we must have 2 million hits on this, we must have 500,000 followers, we must have this many, friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they kind of really, I believe from what I worked on, I know that they fed a lot into this culture of fake networks existing on social media. And what Facebook has always tried to do is stay a step ahead of that. So they banned like gating, for instance. So you can no longer run these competitions to get people to like your page and then get free shit. They did that because so many people were abusing that system.
So what did you do? So you know that the whole brands and everyone held it back.
Yeah.
With all light gating and stuff. When light gating left, it was such a, not left, when it was made Facebook illegal.
Yeah.
It made like an open range again.
Well, I mean, also they want you to spend money advertising.
Yeah.
So that's a no-brainer. So, as they keep bringing your reach down, putting more rules on stuff, it's also for them to make money. And, I'm of the camp of people, obviously I work a lot with Facebook advertising, so I would have this opinion that it's a great tool to use. And again, why should you expect your brand's content to get distributed to all these people for free? But then it has a downside when, people had been hiring agencies, they've been running ads for, several years, spending a lot of money on it, only for their organic reach to plummet, and you have to pay more, and you have to keep paying, That is kind of unfortunate, but again, looking at it from a user's point of view, how much shit do you see on your newsfeed every day?
So much shit.
So there has to be a way to filter that out.
You were mentioning to me earlier, because today's topic was along the lines of how can small bands starting out actually work on social media. And you said like amazing, very creative idea earlier when we were in the pub about how you do it that's related to spend.
Yeah, Facebook advertising has come a long way in terms of targeting. So you can actually target somebody by the place that they work in. So I can target, for instance, people who work at Sony, people who work at Warner's, any of the major labels, MTV, Sky. But I can also target people by the job position. And this all depends on if the person has put that into Facebook.
Okay.
If they haven't put that information up there, you can't track.
So if you're a new band starting out and you kind of wanted to get heard,
you could potentially, with 10 or 20 pounds, or even less.
Only 10 or 20 quid?
Probably even less, because if you think, okay, I want to target people who work at the majors, who are A&Rs, you're probably going to have a couple of hundred at the most in the UK who are actually registered on Facebook as well, who say that they do that, maybe even a lot less. So you don't have to spend really hardly any money to reach those people.
Your idea is great because if you're new to a job, you put it on Facebook straight away. Sure. So if you're new in PR, you'd be like, hey, I work in PR at Sony or Atlantic Records. Mm-hmm. And you're always wanting to impress. You're like, when you start a new job like that, you're always wanting to impress. And so bands could easily capitalize on that.
Yeah, they could. I wouldn't say easily.
Okay.
Because I think you have to be very, very creative in the way that you get their attention. So, I mean, you could put up your music video, but it's really like that person is not going to pay any more attention to that than they are any other piece of content that's on their newsfeed. Sure. So then it becomes about how do you use this platform and this technique to creatively get their attention? Are you going to have, a banner? Are you going to say like, hey, you who works for Sony, I know you, I'm stalking you, I'm following you, I know where you live.
That's big too 1984, Big Brother-ish / Truman Show in a weird way.
You have to make an impact.
That's a very good point, yeah.
But also, it's not just about saying like, I know where you work and kind of freaking them out. You have to have a bit of humor about it so it's not so scary. I don't know. I'm imagining it can be scary, but I guess if you always approach it with okay, yes, I'm targeting you because you work at Sony, but it's okay because there's a very good reason, and I know all about, you know, or whatever.
Hey, Atlantic Records employee, how's it going? Don't worry, I'm not stalking you.
Nice Had an accident in the workplace.
Had an accident at Atlantic Records, it's fine. Talk to me, listen to my band, it's good. All right, final question, because this has flowed quite well.
Actually, you know what?
You can't cut me up.
I have to cut you off because that would be a great
Kanye.
thing to use to, I'm going to let you finish, but I got to say that if you were selling insurance, you just find the jobs that had the highest rate of, you know, injuries and just be like, yeah.
Especially because you can geo-target as well, so you find what everybody's doing building work. Did you hear that? We're coming for you. We're coming for you, building, constructing people. Is that what they're called?
I think so. That is the term.
We're going to have to, like, finish this off quickly. I had another question, but we'll save it for later. Actually, can you answer this quickly in around 30 seconds' time?
Try me.
How can bands profit from streaming? Because at the moment, the revenue's not very good.
It's something that they need to work out with their publishers. And I think the publishers, that whole system needs to change. And it's not a social media question or like a streaming thing. I think it's more on how the entire music industry is set up on publishing, and publishers taking 50%, even in cases where they've had no involvement in brokering deals or in getting those, you know, those streams available to the artists. Artists need to be a lot smarter. Get a good lawyer.
Get smarter. Get a good lawyer. Geo-target people.
Lawyer up, guys.
Find where people are falling over in the workplace.
Also, I mean, if you have a good manager and lawyer and a good team behind you, I think that there's potential to negotiate different deals. Taylor Swift, you know, Beyonce, people who are like, they're not necessarily, it's still kind of ring fencing content, but actually it's windowing.
It's interesting. Maybe something I want to jump on in another episode is like, bands can do a lot. Well, they get their streaming stuff, they get their revenue, but things like Discover Weekly on Spotify is helping bring bands to a new audience, which I'll come to at another point. Thank you. We're done. If you could talk down that camera there with your details, like your Twitter handle, what you do, where people could find you elsewhere.
You can head to The Drum, at The Drum. What is your Twitter handle?
No, it's yours, not mine.
Yeah, but you can go there. You can go to yours and find mine out.
No.
I'm not a beg. I won't be a beg. I refuse to be a beg.
If you come follow at Bacon Chin, you can find Aria there, and we'll do it that way.
Follow this guy. Don't follow me.
You're rubbish at this.
Seriously bad at it.
He doesn't like begging for it. It's like, don't ever beg. Don't ask for endorsements.
Don't follow me, because all you'll see is drunken rants about the music industry.
If you want to see drunken rants about the music industry, we'll make sure that your username comes here without any choice.
Comment below.
Comment below on what you think it is. We're off to have a shandy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for
big
having me.
handshake. Thank you. End. This week we have some really interesting people on the sofa. We have Mark and Graham from the Startup Van.
Hello. Yeah, great to be here.
I like how you replied before him, being as though he hasn't done anything most of the day.